I'm yet to meet a CEO or a managing director of a company where if they don't understand the value, they don't buy the tech.
That's Dan Milligan, Chartered Surveyor and Managing Director of Frame Solutions. He believes that the future of surveying belongs to the firms that start with the value and not just the software.
If the tech isn't there or if it doesn't fulfill that business need, then don't buy the tech. But if they do want to get efficiency, then they need to look at, well, what is the inefficiencies part?
He believes that technology should earn its place solving real problems, delivering efficiency where it matters most.
So if you've come and said, we want to be more efficient, we want more consistency, we lay those out to make sure those goals are hit at the end of the 3 months. And we're going to break those key elements down.
And he's reminding us that real progress starts with focus, clarity on the problem, consistency in the process, and ultimately proof in the results. I'm Louis Blaxill, and this is the Surveying Shift.
Welcome to the Surveying Shift. I'm Louis Blaxill, CEO of GoReport, where we've been helping surveyors embrace digital transformation across the industry. Each episode, we give you the clarity and confidence to adopt the right digital tools, simplify compliance, and stay competitive in a changing industry without sacrificing profitability. Let's jump into today's episode. So Dan, welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to introduce yourself and your organisation.
I'm a founder of Frame Solutions. Our software is called Esther, which is a project delivery software. Now, I'm a chartered surveyor, worked in the industry for a number of years and moved over into that space because I thought there were significant opportunities that could be fixed. And I've run the company for about 6-7 years now.
Thank you. Well, you'll be well placed, and I imagine we'll have some similar stories to talk about when it comes to customers adopting technology. First of all, I wanted to step back and look at the broader picture, particularly with your background in surveying. You've been in the industry for a long time now. Where do you think we are as an industry in terms of technical adoption, and where do you think we are in terms of evolution of people adopting technology?
I think there's two ways that this happens. One is organically. I think that people get frustrated. So you may be doing the same thing over and over again, or people are doing loads of different things. You don't know what's happening in the business. So it can come out organically. Some companies, they'll do capability mapping. So they understand, they'll divide their business up into different units, what it does. And that's very interesting. Honda, one of the biggest companies in the world, do that every year because they want to understand the processes in their business and how they can make them better. So I think it comes out in two ways, really. The main things that people come to us for is they want to be more efficient. They want more consistency across their practice. They want to de-risk and have more visibility. So when contract certificates are due, stuff like that. And then they're looking to provide a better service to their clients as well. So through portals and things of that nature.
Yeah, real-time data.
Yeah.
I mean, that all resonates. I think efficiency inevitably from GoReport is a big one, right? Moving from pen and paper and that unstructured data capture to a world in which it's all captured in one place and you don't have to do that type up, and that merging of data is really accessible. I think, interestingly, and you touched on it earlier with younger people coming through, one of the key symptoms we find is people find over time that they're doing low value administrative tasks and they're doing repetitive tasks over and over again.
Yes.
And as you said, I think either that can come from the top and going, look, this is just waste basically in my organization, or it can come from the bottom up and going, actually, I don't want to do this again, right? I know there's a better way out there.
Sure.
And I want to adopt technology that's going to enable me to do the stuff that I love doing, the stuff that's more interesting, the reason that I got into surveying. I think the other piece, and I think this would be true of you as well, is competitiveness. I think particularly as more and more people adopt technology, you find yourself either overpricing because you have to do that manual work and you're spending time doing things that aren't valuable to the customer, or you're kind of having to cut your margins quite significantly in order to stay competitive. And we quite often have conversations with people about how are they doing that, right? How are they pricing so low? And maybe it's to win other work, but quite often it's because they're more technically enabled, they're more digitally enabled, and they can do things quicker.
Yeah. I think that you raised two good points. The first one on fundamentally, like, what is a low value task? And you've got very highly skilled people. They've all gone to university. They've all done an APC, which takes a number of years. A lot of them have got 10, 20 years experience. To sit them down and say, right, copy and paste that figure over there or type that up, where there is no skill in that whatsoever. There is an administrative task where they can charge £200 an hour, is a disservice, really, when there's tech that allows them not to do that.
Yeah.
And where is the value for the client? It's not in that.
Yeah.
The value for the client is their expertise, how they run the project. All of those skills that they've honed under a number of years is what they sell to their clients, not the other elements. So if you can take that off the table, take it off the table. Let them get on with the bit that the client wants and the elements that they're good at. And everyone wants to do. No one went to surveying to write up minutes. No one done that.
Absolutely.
So,
or to copy notes up from site.
Exactly. Or mark up, drawings and walk around with pen and paper and take 5 days doing it. So it's twofold, isn't it? Because then you'll attract talent into the consultancy because, I know which one I'd want to work for. I don't want to sit around doing that stuff. I want to get involved with the client. I want to fix the problems. I'm out there doing the surveying side of it.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. And if there is opportunities that you that do present yourselves, then you look into them, and it's only going to help the business, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think particularly with people coming into the industry and people using technology more at home, there's an expectation, right? And people are looking for those opportunities, and people get excited by working for forward-thinking organisations. And one of the key ways you can signal that to your employees is, right, we're adopting the latest technology and we're reducing those mundane tasks.
Yeah,
I think that segues quite nicely into the second question I wanted to cover, which is around why people hesitate in terms of adopting technology. And if I may, I'll start with one that we get at GoReport. There's a fear that, it's true when people say surveying is an art, right? And you're right, people are very skilled and highly qualified in order to call themselves a chartered surveyor. And there's a perception in the broader market that actually, by adopting technology, certainly from a GoReport perspective, you're in some way diminishing or tarnishing that, in the sense that, you're automating or you're digitizing some of those lower value tasks. But, the essence of GoReport is to make sure that you spend less time on those low value tasks and actually you spend more time doing the things that are valuable to your customer, be that adding advice, be that having the conversation with them to explain how they should use the data and how they should use the insight. And it's almost the reverse. It should enable people to be doing their job better and doing the stuff that they love in surveying more, in essence. I was curious, what else do you come across when people say, look, we feel like we should adopt tech, we've got inefficiencies, we need consistency, but they're still on the fence. What's keeping them there?
I think they need to truly understand what they're buying.
Okay. They
need to understand, what is this going to fix on the fundamental level? So we talk about efficiencies. All right, what's inefficient then? Let's diagnose what's inefficient. For your case, you're walking around with a bit of paper and you have to write up on Excel and it's all fragmented. For us, a good example is doing cost reports. I spend half a day doing a cost report every month. I do 10 of them. Okay, how long does it take? Well, it takes us 4 hours or 5 hours. And then we can start getting into the detail. Then we can show with the solution what we're doing. So this is how we take a cost report from taking 4 hours to 20 minutes. And we will diagnose exactly what that issue is and how we can solve it. So they know what they're buying is going to solve the issue, the business issue, which is an important part of it, what they set out to solve. But that's just the first part of it. So we can do the demo, all the testimonials, all the good stuff, right?
Bought into the vision.
Yeah, the vision's there. But I would always recommend is that you start small and then scale up. So I would always recommend to our clients is don't jump the cut, don't buy 100 licenses, just buy a little subset. You're saying that your cost report's taking 5 hours. We want to trim that down. Okay, well, over 3 months, we're going to get the before and after picture. So we've got a figure we put in at the top and a figure that comes out the bottom of your efficiency savings. So if you're charging £200 an hour, you save 4 hours. I'm not going to do the maths on camera, but there you go, right? So that is what we're trying to get to, a formula. At the end of that, then we could go, well, we know if we put this much in at the top, we get X amount in at the bottom. So now we can start rolling it out. So that is the advice that I would give. I think it's a good way to do it because you're fully understanding how it's working then.
Is that people are relatively daunted by the scale of the change? Is that you've talked about breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, right, and proving the value. is something that we see at GoReport quite a lot. People get fixated on oh Christ, if I were to roll this out across, my team of 200, that would be really, it's quite a big change. But I think your approach to going, right, well, let's test it here collaboratively, right? We can show you how we work, we show you how we support you through that process, and then let's then proliferate from there. And I think from a GoReport perspective, it's a method we use in terms of that implementation, finding the pockets in the organisation who are potentially more technologically enabled, building them into real champions, and making sure that not only have you got our support, you've got a hotline that you can call and get support as and when you need, but also you've got advocates within the business who are champions, who are there to support other people who might take a little bit more time to pick up the solution.
Yeah.
A very quick interlude. Do you love surveying buildings and advising your customer but dread the write-up? Have you ever thought there must be a better way to produce your reports? And chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have. And the good news is you're not alone. We work at GoReport with thousands of surveyors up and down the country to completely transform the way they produce reports. With GoReport, you capture everything on site straight into a smart template. And when you get back to the office, you're instantly able to generate a customer-ready professional report. No double entry and no time wasted on admin. If that sounds like an upgrade your workflow needs, then scan the QR code or click the link in the show notes. Now, back to the conversation.
And I think, what feeds into this, Louis, and I'm sure you've done this with hundreds of clients, and so have we. It's, we've got a recipe for success. It's not like it's the first time we've done this. So we will guide customers through after that 3 months, and you want to go to 200 people. Then we've done that before. We're going to show you exactly how that works and exactly the best way to do that with our support. So that is monthly meetings, making sure key targets are hit, setting those goals that you want to achieve. It's not like, and you're not going to bash other softwares that were 10 years ago, but it used to be, right, this is your yearly license. Yeah, there you go. Buy 100 licenses, see you in a year for your renewal. I think that is dead.
I don't think that works with really transformative software as well. No. You can talk about kind of low touch, and I don't think either of us fall into this space, right? Consumer stuff that you can maybe watch a video or you pick it up intuitively. It's not to say either of our products aren't intuitive, but it is doing a fundamental transformation of a process which people have been doing for years. And actually, that's something that we've certainly learned over our time in the space is, there are varying requirements. Yes, we've got plans which kind of that lay out what an implementation plan would look like, but then working really closely with you to go, okay, actually, how much support do people need, and how many training sessions, and does it need to be in person, and do we need to go out on site with various different people, and almost kind of tiering your employees to go, these guys are really going to struggle. These guys, I imagine, will pick it up, and then building a plan to support that's really important from our side. It's interesting you touched on ROI and cost there as well. I think with software technology, software and software adoption, inevitably cost is something that's discussed. But quantifying that opportunity cost is quite interesting as well. You sounded like you have a really interesting way of doing that. I don't know whether you can bring that to life with example customers that you've done the kind of tests with and then rolled it out further.
Yeah, so we, like I said earlier, we always encourage evaluation periods, we call them. And that's before and after pictures. So if you've come and said, we want to be more efficient, we want more consistency, we lay those out to make sure those goals are hit at the end of the 3 months. And, we're going to break those key elements down. So another great example is chasing actions from meeting minutes. That was an annoyance of mine all the time. You're not a babysitter. If you can automate that process, so you do a set of meeting minutes, you get an action tracker, all of the actions in the action tracker, send an automated notification for an update. All of a sudden, the surveyor's not sitting there chasing up actions from 100 different people because he's got 5 projects.
Idea whether they've been done or not.
Exactly,
he's
right?
wasted
No visibility.
Done. Yeah,
all of that good stuff. So and that's what we're aiming for. Is it better or is it not better? And that's key as well. Is we're not going to tell you it's going to be better. We're just going to show you in the evaluation period what will we discover. And then if you don't like it after 3 months, you can just leave. Carry on with the way that you're doing it. It's not a lock-in. It's up to us to prove the value. And this is what I said right at the start. It's up to us to prove value to the consultancies that we're actually providing key business goals that are getting completed. And that's the key to it, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's an interesting one. ROIs, I mean, we do it in a very similar way to you, I think, but the best story that I think I can tell is actually we joined a project halfway through. So it was a big data capture project. We were capturing millions of data points across Europe. It was a government project that one of our customers was running, and they started doing it by hand and quickly realized that it just wasn't going to work right. Excel spreadsheets, paper notes. It would have been an absolute disaster to amalgamate across. They had hundreds of surveyors working on it as well. And the stark difference between a process that was previously taking 5 days when they were doing it by hand and putting it into an Excel, then merging that Excel and making sure all the formatting was right, to using GoReport, which only took 1 day. It was a direct comparison that we were able to they were able to see the difference kind of almost overnight between, right, this is the way we're doing it before to where we're doing it now. So,
correct, yeah. And I think I just want to touch on that because that's so clear, isn't it, right? That's very clear. But I'm sure that there'll people be listening that think, well, our reports need to be very flexible. And there's probably like fringe questions that will be on the edge there, Louis, that, you've got the answers for. Because sometimes I feel like it becomes very binary and there is other fringe questions. So, and you've probably got the answers for them, haven't you? And this is what I'm trying to say is like, you get the before picture, you get the after picture. Once you've done this 100 times, these things will come up. Our cost reports are unique to us. I understand that. So we're going to give you a system that you can make it totally customizable to you. That it's no different you do it on a Word or our system Esther, and it will all be branded, and we're nowhere to be seen. And I just want to sort of highlight that what you said there is 100% true, but you've also picked up other elements of customer, not rebuttals, but that they may be worried about, right? Hesitations that you can answer.
So it's a really interesting one. That is something that we come across quite frequently. There's two things, I suppose. One is that, okay, and I think it's really important in the surveying world, and I know you guys have nailed this problem as well when you talk about branding and making it exactly like the current documents, that there is an element of, okay, that's part of the way that surveyors differentiate themselves, right? It's their report, it's their products that they want to be proud of. And from a GoReport perspective, very similarly to you, we're able to just recreate what they're doing. And actually, customers typically take the opportunity when they're evaluating the templates to go, okay, how can we change this and how can we build this out so it's even better for our customers? But making sure it's fully branded, making sure it's something that's brand compliant is absolutely critical for our customers as well, and is a concern because understandably they don't want to tarnish their differentiation.
And I just wanted to touch on that because I think it's important that, like I said earlier, people fully understand what they're buying, and that just feeds into it.
Definitely. That brings us nicely onto pitfalls and traps to avoid falling into when you're adopting technology. Okay. I mean, from your side, what are the key things that you advise people on when they're considering technology and looking at bringing digital into their organization?
So I feel like I'm harping on a little bit about it, but you've got to understand the business goals, how we're going to achieve it, and then we're just going to break it down into bite-sized chunks. So we're going to run the evaluation period for 3 months. We're going to do the before and after picture. And then what we will do is we have what we're going to do and what they're going to do. So we both understand the role. So you've got to have active projects on. We're going to have a monthly meeting to check in that usage and the projects that you want to move over and moved over. So, there's going to be, it's more of a partnership. So you should look for providers that are going to give you a partnership. That's what I'm alluding to. Don't just buy something off the shelf with a big price ticket with some salesman at the back of it. You must ask the question is, how are you going to help me in implementing this solution? Now, some companies, have got a whole digital team, right? So they're not going to need a lot of help, but the majority of people would want a little bit of help and understanding, and this is what is the trodden path? What is the path I need to take to get to the end goal, to have, more efficient, more consistent brand and an offering that I can give my clients? How do I get there? And I think that's a key element to ask up front before you start, diving in at the deep end of how is this going to happen and what are you going to do to help?
Yeah, I think it's important people don't get blinded by the shiny things and actually really consider the reliability. One of the core principles of GoReport is, data integrity and data security, which is absolutely critical. It can kill a project if you go on site, capture all your data, and then, you have to go back for whatever reason through data lost or whatever it is. So there's a lot of excitement in the reporting space around what can be done with AI, but it has to be really fundamentally it has to be steady, it has to be consistent. Otherwise, people, it can crucify your margins.
I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. I think from our perspective, talking to prospects or people that are thinking about buying software, ask them actual and factual. Don't tell me what it's going to do in 10 years and how it's going to be a little robot and it's going to do my survey for me. Tell me what you've done as a software provider. Show me what you've done after the last year, and I want proven results. Case studies, testimonials. I want to see a demo. Again, it all comes back to understanding. And with the AI stuff, sometimes I feel people do fall into the trap. Well, it's going to be.
Yeah.
If you're betting the business, because fundamentally our businesses provide a service for a mission critical part of building consultancy. So it has to be right. It cannot be this willy-nilly, we'll just bet the barn. Yeah. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
And we're talking about it has to be 100 out of 100, not 99 out of 100. Right?
96 is a toy. It's no better than a toy.
Yeah.
So in my world, because I deal with contracts and the same with you.
It's similar with us, right? Yeah.
But I think that if you're going to go out there and look at these solutions, it's actual and factual. What's the proven path? Show me how this is all going to work.
Yeah. So another area where I think, or another key moment in a business's journey where people should consider adopting technology is when they're looking to scale, right? We've got a number of examples where we've been on journeys with companies. A really good one is in the residential space with Novello, where they started out as a small firm, 1 or 2 people. They're now one of the largest residential home buyer survey providers in the UK. And part of their recipe for success was making sure that their reports and the quality of their reports that went out used consistent language that will help the customer, used consistent output, and it was differentiated in the market through their output. So I think if you're thinking about bringing new people into the business, having the tech that provides the guardrails, that provides the efficiencies is really critical as well.
Yeah. We had the same. We've taken people from 20 people to 150 and extreme growth. But like you say, if you don't have guardrails, all of a sudden you're bringing a surveyor from Malcolm Hollis, JLL.
Doing it one way,
I'm bringing all my templates in.
Yeah.
And then the company basically loses control on their consistency. Whereas if you've got this database, this software where if I open a certificate or a cost report, it's the same every time. It's all been signed off. You get the efficiency bump because the software is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and you get the consistency of the company because the software is doing that for you. So scalability is a huge thing.
It's a really, really interesting one, actually, also, when you talk about large portfolios and customers that trust individual consultancies with those large portfolios. They might have properties up in Edinburgh who are done out of the Edinburgh office. You might have properties that are in London that are done out of the London office. If you're getting a survey on them, you expect the look and feel to be consistent. Even if they're not aggregating the data, you expect the quality, the use of language, the level of detail to be consistent. If you're all using different templates and you're not using one system and you're all using Word, and I've got one saved from 5 years ago that I like using, that customer experience is compromised.
It's sort of brand damaging because fundamentally the customer then doesn't know what he's going to get. What am I going to get? Jimmy's doing it that way, Tony's doing it that way. It could, there's no consistency, there's no QA in there either. And I think what you mentioned about large portfolios, again, another great reason why you would go on a system like ours is because we can aggregate all that information. So we've got clients that may have, 50, 60, 100 projects on with one client. Traditionally, you would just send them a monthly cost report or a monthly progress report on that individual project. Now, you're just drip feeding them information. Or there used to be some guy, his sole job was just rolling up all this information on a portfolio where he'd just be plugging a million figures in. You give it to the client and then it's out of date the next day, right? With software solutions like ours, we can roll 50 projects up into one portfolio view and say, right, Mr. Client, here's your 50 projects. This one's got an extension of time. This one's got practical completion. This one's X over budget. Because everything everyone's doing at grassroots level, we can just roll up because we're on the database. Now, for clients, that's just invaluable because they walk into that board meeting, they've got the most up-to-date information, it's complete. If they want to drill into the detail, they can go onto the portal, they can see the portfolio, they can see each individual project dashboard. But for them, it's now no longer, Tony, where are we with this? It's, I've got the information, it's up to date, and I feel very at ease when I do go into those important meetings that the consultant I'm using has given me the right information.
Yeah.
And I think that's, a massive plus for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely critical. Another reason that people hesitate, I think, in adopting technology is if they are a smaller firm, this notion that software is only geared to the bigger players. Quite often we get a question which is, you work with the likes of ACOM, you work with the likes of Ridge, you work with the likes of various other big providers, but actually, what can you offer for the 1, 2, 3, 4-man bands? And actually, we've built a product which works for smaller companies as well, and we have a level of support which we can make sure that they are up and running and they're able to access the software as well and use it to benefit their business. And actually, what we find is it can have an equally, if not more, transformative impact on their business, right? Because quite often they're spinning multiple plates in a way that you can specialize in larger companies. Individuals who are doing everything, getting those hours back, getting those days back a month is absolutely critical. They can drive more business. They can, spend more time adding value to the customer, drive reviews, whatever it may be, commercial, residential space. It's a funny paradox where people go, actually, because I'm small, I don't think it'll work for me. But it's, if anything,
it's strange, isn't it? Yeah. Because, 10, 15 years ago, right, these big players would start building their own solutions out. So, and we, as in software providers, I provide our clients with an off-the-shelf portal, all branded, that they can deploy in an hour. Now, there's huge companies out there that have spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds to build their portal. And that's what you're saying. The paradox is that now the tech's moving on, I can provide it to a mid to small company that they can deploy and have the same capability as someone that spent £1 million on the portal. Yeah. And the thing is that I serve a whole market, as in we serve whole markets. Right? So I'm not siphoning profits off. If I was a big consultancy, I'm just siphoning a profit off to build out my own solution. With this, like I said earlier, if you don't like it, you can leave. So you've got that flexibility, and the market can now give you something that fundamentally achieves those business goals that will inevitably get bigger and better as we move through. So it's a strange one, isn't it? Because people do still have that sort of older school mentality of like, it's just for the big players, when not really. A lot of this is process driven, isn't it? So if you're running a JCT contract, everyone's doing the instructions, everyone's doing interim payments, and for you, if they're doing due diligence surveys or home buyer surveys, that process is the same. Now they do differ, but in the core element, it's the same. Yeah. So,
and it's interesting you touched on it, right? One thing that we come across with larger organizations is there's a temptation to build in-house. And for a host of different reasons, that is quite a difficult thing to do, right? Surveyors are typically focused quite rightly on the building consultancy side of things, and it's not always necessarily their speciality, plus it's really expensive. And as you mentioned, even though they are large, that scale to be able to support a technology solution is difficult. And I think one of the key differentiators is, I think I can speak for you when I say I obsess about this, right? This is my day-to-day. This is everything that I'm thinking about all the time. Being able to take insight from multiple different companies and provide the best product on the market, and take insight and take features and take elements that are going to help our community and our partner base is something that I think is really advantageous in I'd imagine both of our spaces.
100%. Like you say, I'm absolutely obsessed with developing the best products that surveyors can buy. Like I used to work in the city, I was chartered, had a good job, and I gave all that up because I think that we have got an opportunity here to make better products, make the industry better, and fundamentally there was a lot of wasted time and frustration in the industry that we saw a lot of opportunity in. So it is absolutely my top endeavor to ensure that we service our clients. And I think for a number of years, software as a service turned into software, but no service. And I didn't really like that. So I do like that we provide software as a service.
Yeah. Dan, thank you very much for joining us today. If I could ask you to kind of summarize 3 takeaways, if they only listen to a small section of this podcast, what would you say is the key for surveyors to take away from this?
Yeah. So define and understand your business goals. undertake an evaluation period to understand if they fix those business goals, and then have a plan for how it's going to roll out in the company.
Very good. And if I could add one on top of that, I think, with any kind of technology adoption, I think it's critical to be curious, right? The pace of change in technology in the surveying space is rapid. So if you have any questions, or you feel like there are any pain points that could be solved and you could advance your business, just have that conversation, reach out. There's lots of content online, but also speak to providers out there, because it's an exciting time for the industry more broadly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Dan, if they want to find out more about Frame Solutions, where should they go?
Yeah, so if you go to our website, www.frame-solutions.com, you can pick up some case studies and watch some videos and hopefully reach out there.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed today's episode or it gave you some food for thought, be sure to follow our show on your preferred podcast platform. To learn more about what we do at GoReport, visit goreport.com. The links are also in the bio. Until next time.